quite disturbing.
Yeah, quite so. So now, if there's anybody in this town who would have their ears down to the floor of the people and might know something, you'd probably be looking for Big Johnny. Big Johnny more or less runs the underground in this area. He's not the most scrupulous of fellows, but if there's any information to be got, he would have it. It's Unfortunately, he's not an easy man to track down. I would suggest maybe going to the Pickled Pepper, and they'll point out where that is on the map, or perhaps the Blue Zoo. Both of those are local taverns known for the
You said
slightly more shady. Huh?
the pickled pepper, is that what you said?
Yes,
Yeah.
Pickled Pepper
That
and
doesn't even make any sense. How do you pickle a seed?
Do not question the names.
Pickled Pepper
I
and
question the name.
and the Blue Zoo are the two local watering holes that you might want to check out and see if you can find anything out about what's going on, or see if you can find out about where you might be able to talk to Big Johnny.
I say I'm probably most fit for that. Just heads up.
Speaking of questioning names, why do they call him Big Johnny?
Is he tiny? Is it a joke?
You know what? I don't know. I've never seen the guy. Might be just a big guy.
Calling him
Probably.
small?
There's all sorts
Pro-
of nicknames these guys give themselves. They.
Probably not that big, I say, and I cracked my knuckles.
Yeah, you sure have a basis for that statement. Could be huge. Could be
That's
7 feet tall.
right now. That's the really only thing of note that I had here, other than various break-ins and such. But those are small fry, and generally nothing too much of value gets stolen here anyway. Nobody has too much of value.
Except in the richer part of town.
Well, yes,
Say.
but we're not in the richer part of town here.
Right, so we don't. They have their own like guard force in the richer parts. Is that a correct
Yeah,
assumption?
there's this town is split into quadrant. It's circular. It's split into pie essentially, and each area has its own set of patrolmen.
Okay, cool.
But we're not like we are allowed to enforce things in those areas as well, should we suspect illegal activities.
Yeah, you'll most likely want to confer with the folks in those areas, but they might know more information about the dealings and happenings. The things that happen in the rich part of the town are vastly different types of crimes than happen from here.
I wouldn't mind some art
Okay.
theft.
Some art theft?
Yeah, statues.
Like you
Names.
stealing them, or are you trying to find?
Well, no. Well, I mean,
Well, I mean, if
Now
there
that you
are any,
mention it. Yeah, we have sometimes folks here going up there, and so, maybe you'll have to track down somebody going to Rich Part, but for the most part, you'll be sticking around here.
Very well.
all right, we should go, like, investigate now.
Yes. Before we do that, I would like to go to the sheepskin tannery and basically give this order of books to the owner.
Well, so once again, the books are going to the library. The Sheepskin Tannery was where Dylan's friend was, who might have info about cultists.
Oh yeah, okay. Very well. I'll go to the library then.
Okay. Are you guys all heading together, or are you fanning out?
I don't know. It's up to them. I tell them that I'm going to deliver.
I'm gonna stick
books.
with him.
I tell him I'm gonna go check out one of the bars.
Yeah, I'll stick with Alistar. I tell Etlin it's better that he goes to the bar himself since we stick out a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you heading towards the pickled pepper or the blue
Yeah.
zoo?
I'm gonna go to the pickled pepper first.
Okay. Perhaps you should get a feel of the area. As we were told, it's supposed to be a very shady inn, so try to blend in as much as possible, and you should probably hide your crescent moon symbol if you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some of my steel.
One of the things one of the things Atherton actually tells you guys is you might have a little bit more luck than the previous group because nobody knows who you are yet.
Yeah.
So, if you show up at one of these inns, it's going to be less suspicious than the previous group who had basically everybody knew by now that they were a part of the...
That's why
part of the
I
cops.
told Edlin to hide his medallion.
I tell the group I might be gone for a night if I'm going to try to go undercover and actually find out some information. I might stay at the inn.
Okay. Do you
if
want to look for you or something?
If I'm gone
After
for 2 days, you can. But at night, I'll try to sneak back here and just give a report on what's been happening.
Okay. So after 2 days, we'll come look for you if you haven't turned up. Hopefully, it won't come to this. But best of luck.
And Daniel, I have a question.
Yep.
Is it normal for people to be walking around with a sword?
It's not uncommon.
Okay, so me bringing my sword around wouldn't.
Yeah, especially in, this area. Having protection for yourself is not the worst idea.
Cool. Plus, do people recognize that it's a sword if it's all folded up?
Probably not,
Yeah, it looks like 2 sticks.
essentially.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Some of the finer establishments you might not be able to get in with it, but, they just ask you to check it at the door. However, you're not in the finer establishments.
Yeah. Alright, well, they can do their
Okay.
stuff first.
Okay. So we head towards the library.
Okay. You wind around Brown Street and eventually come to the library. It's a little bit dilapidated. It doesn't look like it gets a whole lot of use or a whole lot of funding.
Okay. A question: did I find any of the books intriguing?
Most of them were sort of dull and not. Okay, here's a better question. What do you find intriguing?
Everything that has to do with adventuring, different places in the world, like tales of monsters or politics, etiquette, stuff like that.
There's included in the second books is a fairly thick book of fables, local fables.
I would like to keep that in that case. I do tell the librarian that we're delivering to that I'm going to keep one of the books and finish it before I turn it in, if that's okay with him.
Do you guys introduce yourself as coming from the camp, or are you just handing these off?
I don't introduce myself, but I walk up to him and I say I have this delivery with books for him.
Glances at him. Oh, yes, this went out to Crescent Moon folk, I believe. Are you from there? Are you you gentlemen the new guard?
I don't answer him. I just smile at him and I say, perhaps you should keep that information to yourself.
Well, we'll kind of smile at you and tap his nose.
Okay. I show him the book and I say, I found this a very interesting read. I haven't gotten to finish it yet. Do you mind if I keep it a few days and turn it in afterwards?
By all means. It's very rare to find a fighter-looking type who likes to read.
He says you look dumb.
Information should never be looked down upon.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Yes, by all means, keep it until you finish it.
Thank you.
That's one of my personal favorites too, actually.
I give him a wink. So I turn to the rest of the group and I say, so should we head over to the sheepskin tannery and see what kind of information we could find about the cults? What do you guys think? And
Etlin is kind of busy with the tavern, so maybe we should take a look at that cult business.
Yeah.
Since we probably won't find anything out for like at least a day about that other stuff. And of course, we keep our eyes out for any crime in the streets and whatnot.
of course.
He said something intelligent.
Just trying
Good
to
is.
communicate.
My tail twitches a little bit.
Oh.
All right, so you guys are gonna head
Oh.
over to the sheepskin tannery.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, so the outside of this looks like at one point it was probably a tannery, and probably just closed down, and this guy decided to open a bookstore, and he just kept the name because the sign was already there. Door is currently closed, but you do see someone inside. The windows are fairly grimy, so it's kind of hard to make out exactly what's inside, but looks like there's, probably several rows of shelves.
Okay. I knock on the door.
Well, you hear somebody, it's open.
Okay. So I walk in.
So you walk in, you see a lot of books just kind of strewn somewhat haphazardly about. It looks like at one point somebody tried to keep him in order, but then just sort of gave up. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of dust around, a lot of old-looking books. You're not even sure why really anybody would open a bookstore, how they could make a living off a bookstore selling stuff
Yeah.
this old and dirty.
So I inspect the person owning.
So you'll
the
see him, and he's got little spectacles on. He's in the back counter. So what can I do for you, gentlemen?
Yes, we're here about business from the Crescent Moon. Although we would appreciate if you kept that information to yourself. However, we heard that you had some information to give us regarding a cult.
Ah, yes. Stone did mention something about that. I think I may have tracked down some stuff, but give me just a second, and he'll go to the front door, and he'll lock it, unless you guys are interfering with it.
No.
And he'll lead you guys. He'll grab a stack of 4 books with him, and lead you guys into a back room. It's a little bit more,
Sketchy.
little bit better lit, so you can, it looks like a reading room essentially.
Okay.
So we'll set him down on tables. Hey, please sit. I'm go to shake your hand. I'm Reginald Bartlesby.
Reginald?
Wait, what? Your name is Reginald Bartleby?
Yes. What?
We met one of your relatives, I guess, son maybe? Reginald Bartleby the third?
I know.
Yeah.
I'll go
The
and
fifth?
he'll kind of put his forehead in his palm and go, "Oh dear God, don't tell me you've been down to Blackbriar." Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
of course there wasn't. Oh. All right, you better sit down. Do you want to hear the story?
Not really.
Absolutely, I say.
Yeah, he's a special one. I'd love to hear it.
All right. Well, let me. Hey, you gentlemen, want anything to drink? I need some whiskey before I start this one. But I have some tea or something if you.
I would love some tea, thank you.
I would love some tea as well.
I know, just saying, he'll turn around and clutter around and pour some water in and start boiling up. Like, all right.
Ah, yes.
So yes, I'm Reginald Bartleby the Sixth. Reginald Bartleby the Fifth is, of course, my father, and I'm sure you heard the entire my father before him and his father before him and his father before him speech.
Yes, of course.
So, this is a name that I've been trying to escape for years. I thought moving to a big city would help me escape that legacy, but unfortunately, it always seems to catch up with me. Somebody will always come along who knows it.
If I could give you a personal tip on that, you should probably change your last name in that case.
So therein lies the story. So, Reginald Bartlesby the First was not a very bright man. And thereon, and all the Reginald Bartlesbys were not very bright men either. The first son of each family who was born was always named Reginald Bartlesby, the next in line. Unfortunately, I happen to be not a stupid one like the rest of them. I don't know if you found out about the Red Bartlesby family, but yeah, they never did too much. They were always just kind of there. They did whatever people wanted them to. However, the problem is, even after 6 generations, you tend to build up some sort of wealth. The thing is, in the will of Reginald Bartlesby I, it stipulates that if anybody ever finds out that somebody changed their name from Reginald Bartlesby, the whatever generation you're in, to something else, you are no longer able to take control of the estate that my family owns. And thus, I have to keep this godforsaken name, down a shot of whiskey. Even though it is the last black mark that I want on my life.
Interesting. A man should always get to name himself if he has been named. Or if he has
Oh,
been
I've
cursed
been
with a name.
tempted. Don't you think I haven't been tempted?
Sometimes we have to do things that are beyond our choice. You would understand that more than most, I think, Alastor.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we
Well,
won't judge you for the sins of your father. We just hope that you can help
and the father before him.
the father
and the father
before
before
him
him.
and the one before that. If you can just help us out.
They're never sinners. They're just, you know what? Forget it.
They're not okay for the stupidity. Let's say that.
Well, I'm glad you don't hold that against me. All right, now,
I would never.
what were we here for? Oh, yes, cultists. Okay, well, so, they said that something about metal helmets
Yes.
and black cloaks.
Yes.
Now, was there any other distinguishing feature that you could think of?
No.
Many
Well,
different
except for
races.
yeah, I was gonna say that. There wasn't a specific race, but there was many rather. One of these was actually a creature I had never seen before. It looked like a giant insect. So even very uncommon non-human races seem to take part in this.
Look a little bit Manus-like.
Yes, actually.
Those are Thrycreen. You don't actually see a lot of those around any of these parts.
No, you don't.
They prefer the desert climates.
Ah,
Interesting.
you know, for being for having this much knowledge in nature, I could still not determine what creature this was, but I thank you for the information.
Yes, you must have rolled very poorly on your remembrance checks.
Yes, that I did.
Yes, I mean, it's a completely different climate than you've grown around on, so that's
Yeah.
probably why. All right, so well, there's been several mentions, and all of them dating hundreds of years ago. There's some major cult of Incubulos, who was supposed to be the god of plague, sickness, famine, drought, disasters, so on and so forth.
Incubulush.
He's a fairly minor deity, but he had a very strong sect of followers. They were known to summon demons every now and then.
Perhaps armored or magical constructs. I say.
Let's check here, and we'll flip over the thing. Well, no specific mention of it, but I wouldn't put it past them. The thing that Incabulos is actually most known for is that they actually one time cursed an entire tribe of hill giants and created this race of diseased, pestilent rot giants who plagued the land for many, many, many years.
And what has come of these hill giants?
Nobody has seen them. I mean, as I said, these are tales from hundreds of years ago. Who knows what could have happened to them in the meantime? Well, let's see. Who else? Who else? There was another type who uh, may have had some similar dealings. Let's see, who was it? Na, 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 na. Yes. There's also Kyuss.
Yes.
Kyuss. Yeah. It's mostly a demigod who was concerned with creation and mastery of undead. They wore similar type of metallic helmet types and war garbs. Now,
This Kios, was that a god or just the name of the cult?
it's a demigod.
Demigod. And this Inkabulosh,
Also
Also a
somewhat
demigod?
of is it? Well, he's the greater god of plague, sickness, famine, nightmares, drought, and disaster.
Okay.
Sounds like a good
Interesting.
god.
I mean,
Yes,
it's a god
very.
that basically hates every other god except Nerul. And Nerul.
Oh, yes. Or-
Nerul actually was more or less a follower of Incabulos. He would, once the disease and plague has spread, Nerul would come and take the dead.
So he works like a harvester of souls, is what you're saying.
You can call it that.
Okay. But he
Now,
does not bring death, he only escorts the dead, is what you're saying.
You could say that. It's very complex, but you could say that.
Yes, I'm not
He-
very...
Nerul finishes what Incabulos started.
Okay.
Now these are, as I said, these are sects we haven't heard of in a long time. Now, if I would venture to say it's probably more of Incabulos, but you never quite know with these cults who they follow, what rituals they have come on. So one thing I have been wondering: did you manage to capture any of them? Did you manage to interrogate any of them? Did they talk to you?
None of them spoke a single word, even when we prompted them to, although they seem to be able to talk amongst themselves telepathically.
Telepathic.
Yes.
Let's say. That is a fact that may have been omitted from me previously. Alright, well, I will let you know this. If Incabulos, there's a following of them on somewhere near here, that is very, very bad sign. These folks tend to enjoy torturing others and spreading disease and blight.
In the name of their god.
In the name of their god. It's not it's not a happy fun cult, that's for sure. Something to be look out for if you see any areas. Who knows? There's weird things that happen in the city. Their ritual areas are generally accompanied by weird hummings or droning chants, and they generally have fat, black, smoky candles. That's what their prayer and worship style was. So keep an eye on that sort of stuff. That might come up if it is in fact an Incubulos follower.
Hmm. Interesting. I look to Shach, and I say, you know well of the gods, don't you?
Maybe.
We have spoken of them before.
Yes, we have. I know some of them. I have knowledge in religious things.
Um, is there anything known about this Incabulos or Narul or Kias that perhaps is not common knowledge? Is there anything you know that isn't?
I think Diff knows religion too, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to roll some religion checks?
Absolutely. Let me just check my modifiers. Yeah, I have +2. Not amazing, but let's do it. Yeah, it's definitely.
Oh God.
Nothing is known to me about these gods.
Doesn't even know his
Why?
old god.
My gods have
Yeah.
more to do with dragons. And do you know Bahamut? He's
Yes, you have told me about this.
wonderful.
Of course,
God.
everyone knows Bahamut. Well, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if you gentlemen did not know about Incabulos or his followers. As I said, these are texts, and while they weren't written that long ago, they date back to stories many, many, many centuries ago. If only we could hear from somebody who's that old. But I mean, this is stretching back maybe 200-300, maybe even 400 years. Some of these old tales.
I mumble something when he says that, though I don't make any attempts to state anything.
Okay. All right. It is 12 o'clock. So I think we'll probably leave it here. It's been 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we will get back to it next week.
Sure.
Sounds good.
So,
EXP?
not for today.
What?
We didn't really do anything. So
I mean, it's progressing the story is also.
yeah,
Or-
but we didn't really do that either.
5 XP.
Do,
Yeah.
do,
Like,
do
we
you want
could get-
do you want
okay,
the EXP for
we
killing a
even
couple of
have-
helpless guys?
How
Yes.
about this? How about we
Yes.
25?
I feel
XP
like that was fairly in character for me.
We'll get 25 XP so we can even it out to 4K. How's that sound?
Let's see, how much would those two have been worth in an actual combat?
I mean,
I feel like
Uh,
25 XP for around 4,000.
Ah, you guys would
Yeah.
actually get 150 each.
oh really?
All right, we'll go with 150.
Actually, I would rather 150. You are correct.
Can we go 125? I really want it even.
I'll go 150.
Okay, what's 150? That's 39.75. I guess I'm at 30, 41, 25.
It's quite the rewarding session, wouldn't you say? Mm.
I thought it was nice. I got a freaking chain shirt.
Oh yeah,
I
the
got a
loot
master
was awesome.
sword and I got
XP gain,
potion.
not so much.
Yeah, but you can't always have XP gain, or it will
Guys,
trigger
we-
times when you.
We had a
we
lot
get-
of housekeeping stuff that we're doing today anyway. So
Yeah.
this is
And
the sort
also
of stuff that
here's-
if we're doing like a 6-hour session, then there'd be a lot of stuff later on. But because
Or
we
health potions.
do very small amount of stuff at one time, so
Okay,
mean, we
so
could go-
I'll actually get to update the layout and send you the updated ones after.
yep, sounds good. All right, so let's do, I guess, some final shout-outs for today. Shock, why don't you start us off?
Me? Yeah, shout outs to the couple people that joined us. Appreciate you guys joining us. And shout outs to Blade Mage. Damn, I'm from my root days. It's a long, long time ago. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, thanks to you guys for playing with me and Daniel for being our DM, of course. And shout outs to my Masterwork Greatsword. I'm pretty hyped to hit people with that thing. Woo!
All right, Laster, Sigan.
Yes, thank you everyone for watching us play. It's always nice to see that people are interested in this kind of thing. I want to thank the group as well for joining in to making this whole show possible. It's really great getting to do this. Hopefully every week from now on. Shout out to pets because they're awesome. I believe
Meow.
meow. I believe R&D is going to be straight after this or something, right?
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah. All right. So in an hour, you guys should definitely check in on me JP here on Twitch. You're probably all following him already. And R&D will be held in an hour from now.
All right, Mr. Other Daniel Diff.
Just follow the channel, follow our Twitters. Keep
about
an
it.
eye out.
All right, and John, the legend himself.
Shout out to the viewers. I was gonna have an actual shout out, but I totally forgot what it was. So,
Improvise.
that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.
Yep, and as for myself, as Other Daniel pointed out, all Twitter handles are underneath. I think all of us pretty much tweet out when we go live. Generally, we're going to be basically doing it on Saturdays at noon Eastern, if anybody cares. That's been the way it's been for the
Anybody
last few
cares.
weeks at least. Yeah, we'll also post on JP's Reddit when we're, if anything changes or if nothing changes. Other than that, hopefully you guys had fun today. It was a little bit slower day. I sort of expected it to, but hope it was still fun anyways. So thanks for joining me, dear players and dear viewers. And hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.